Hi, I'm Aura mostly, but I think some other people are around. And I'm here with Primal Pack, and we're gonna be reacting to another Sandersides video. This time it's dealing with intrusive thoughts, and it looks a little bit different. In case you didn't notice, I have a little bit of a different setup. And now there's a Charlie cam, so you can see if Charlie's being cute or acting out or whatever she might be doing. She's mad because she wants to be in my lap, but she can't be right now. So yeah, I think I'm gonna try to start giving more of an overview of the series at the beginning of each of these episodes in case any of them is the first one that any of you have seen. So if you don't know, this is a series where we as two DID systems react to Sandersides through like a DID perspective, even though like canonically in the series they've made very clear that they're not trying to portray DID. They still get a lot of those ideas in a really interesting way, so I think it's interesting to look at it that way. And we do know that they're not trying to portray DID, but they still do a pretty dang good job of it. So yeah, without further ado, I think we will start reacting to dealing with intrusive thoughts.
Oh my gosh, I'm late. Do this video. Get ready? No, I don't have time to get ready. I can do this. I'm awesome, and I can do this.
Me trying to film.
What is up, everybody? How are you all doing? Comment below, because the human connection will make me feel like a person again. What? Sorry, that one was supposed to stay up here. Help me. Oh, there I go again. I'm just really tired. Can't talk because of the tires. It just couldn't get to sleep last night. And I think with that new addition, that brings the grand total to everything. Everything is going wrong in my life. Even my thoughts are starting to go wrong. Oh, come on, no! No, what are you talking about? Sorry, let's talk about something else. Yeah, let's. Uh-oh, here comes the noblest Roman of them all. What up, plebes? Oh, hey, Roman, we were just talking about something else. What? Yo, what? Nothing else. There's nothing else. We were just talking about something and never anything else. Is that okay? Wait, are you all seriously not going to let me in on what's going on here? Patton already said we were talking about something. Singing to myself, 'cause I'm not uncomfortable at all. Secrets are no fun. Tell me now or else we're done. Look, you don't want to know unless you want to be deeply troubled. I do. Mystery loves company. It's misery loves company. Not for me, it's not. I am not feeling any love or misery because it's a mystery for me alone. I have yet to receive my invite to the pity party. Thomas, come on. You can't have a ball without a prince. Just leave it alone, Roman. Seriously. Ugh. I can't believe you're making me do this. What do you need? Logan, do you know why everyone is so moody bemoans? Oh, goodness. Are they still disconcerted? That's putting it a little lightly, Logan. Or your reaction is a little too extreme. Well, that's easy for you to say. Why wouldn't it have been easy to say? It was an 8-word sentence. That's not exactly laborious. What he means is that you're not a great judge of what is and isn't an overreaction. Your most extreme reaction is an eyebrow raise. Falsehood! I stand corrected. There.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I forgot briefly I was supposed to be reacting and like giving commentary and stuff. So there's obviously a lot of denial in this so far, which I guess a lot of this is going to be through the lens of like dealing with persecutors, and I feel like that is a fairly common like reaction to persecutors generally, is to just kind of do the fingers in the ears, nothing bad is happening, everything's fine. response and just like ignore it and hope it goes away, which I don't find particularly effective. Do you have any thoughts on it so far?
There's a lot of assuming, and one, Roman is trying to pry at information that they're not privy to, could be trauma memories, could be something that everyone else is in on, and they think they want in on it because they feel excluded, and that's very selfish and self-centered for thought processes, and it's not fair, but alters do that sometimes. What's the matter? What are you so worried about? Just tell me. You don't want to know. It's bad. I don't care. I want to know. Let me in on the secret.
Yeah.
And
that's a really good...
They just keep pushing it, and it's very fucking annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the whole, well, you can't have an extreme opinion to this, or say that it's extreme or not, because your version of extreme is this. I get that. Because it's like saying, you can't tell if this is painful or not, because you have a high pain tolerance, and that's not fair.
Yeah.
Just because someone has a high pain tolerance or a decent understanding of life or whatever, doesn't mean that they can't decide for themselves or understand what is and isn't extreme.
Yeah. So yeah, looking at it from looking at Roman's response specifically through the lens of trying to push past amnesia barriers is really interesting for sure.
Also just blatantly ignoring consent.
Right. And it's one of those things if it's like responding and making it very clear that it's about consent might be more effective in a situation like this than trying to talk him out of wanting to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that feels like a very calm-headed mindset to be in, and people who are
that's true.
Usually traumatized don't often have that first instinct of, let me just calmly explain this, instead of, I have to give them a good reason to not do this, or not want to do this.
Yeah.
And I get pushing as a friend, but even then you still shouldn't. If someone says no, it means no. Even if you're intrigued. Yeah. It may not be a permanent no, be there for them if it ever is a yes. But if you try to force them to open up about it, they definitely won't in the future, because you're not going to be safe to talk to. Same thing with alters inside, like, that's what happens inside too. People try to force you to open up about shit that's sensitive when you don't wanna. You'll never talk to them again, and you'll just start repressing the memories, which doesn't help the system heal, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a decent starting point of types of stuff that we'll probably talk about throughout the rest of the episode.
Here's the one for today. Logan, put on your blinders, or in this case, take off your glasses. What are you talking about? Look, I barely got any sleep. That's the best joke my creativity's got. But seriously, ignore them for the time being and explain to me what is going on here. Well, last night, Thomas struggled to fall asleep due to persistent, troubling thoughts about... Hey now, stop what you are saying. Whoa, you guys are acting fishier than the Kraken's crack. Oh. All right, so I'm acting fishy. So sue me. Don't act like that was an accident.
Everybody virtual. Let's give it up for the perp man.
Just tell me. Blurt it out if it'll be easier, like ripping the sword from the stone.
That was canonically not easy.
Yes, only Arthur was able to remove the sword. May the odds be never in our favor. But
also, trying to get other alters to divulge the secrets doesn't make it any better. Just because you technically didn't force the one person to say anything.
Yeah,
you still went against their consent and went behind their back.
Charlie.
Which isn't cool. It's a dick move, no matter what the circumstances are.
Yeah.
It's just a dick move.
It is, and it feels like manipulative, almost.
It is manipulative. It's forcing your way somewhere that people don't want you.
Yeah, And it's going behind their backs, although in this case it's right in front of them, so it's not really behind their backs. But it's trying to find, like, a back way to that information. And there's an entitlement component. Roman is very curious, but also feels entitled to the information.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a pretty big part of the problem in this case.
No alter is entitled to information about you at all. Even if you normally talk to them, nobody is entitled to that information. Even a gatekeeper, they don't have to know. The whole thing about the amnesia walls is that there is amnesia. There's supposed to be. And if you try to force it, it doesn't end well.
Mm-hmm.
Information in general can be way more extreme than you thought it would, or trigger something else. Even if you don't think that information would be inherently that harmful, you don't have all of the info. And you could just be wrong. So trying to assert your own beliefs over someone else to force them to talk about shit is not cool.
Okay, I think the co-conscious text box looks good enough for the moment, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Charlie is very upset with me. Okay. So we can probably keep going now. Helps if I
Stone.
do that.
Why don't you read the book and see if you still need to correct me?
Oh, sorry.
I guess Disney was more faithful than we all thought. What I mean is that talking about this shouldn't be as impossible as liberating the sword from its ferric prism. I don't understand why we must prohibit any and all discussion about the intrusive.
Please
I'm
stop.
gonna
Seriously,
prohibit your
please.
breathing
I
if you
really
keep this
don't
up.
want to think about it.
You know exactly why we're not talking about it. But Logan, if you continue to push this, we're gonna end up in really dangerous territory. Push what exactly? I'm sorry, but I can't condone any more of that kind of thinking. Please, just...
So I'm gonna point out a really key difference here between why Virgil is upset and why Patton is upset. Virgil is upset because he's triggered and he's terrified of this persecutor, whereas Patton is upset for, like, moral reasons. He's not comfortable with the idea of the existence of this persecutor at all, and he's just trying to, like, hide from that information, which I think is a pretty important distinction there.
Another thing to touch into the same topic that I said before.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Logan doesn't understand why, that doesn't make it okay to keep talking about it or to try and force the issue anyway.
Yeah.
You don't have to understand or agree with someone for it to be important to still listen to them. Like,
Yeah.
just because you think it might not be a big deal doesn't mean that you can just go ahead and do it anyway. It's a big deal to them. What's a trigger for you is not a trigger for me. Vice versa. Mutual respect and all that.
There also, on the flip side, is something to be said for situations where it is a pretty good time to share information that wasn't available before. And
What do you mean?
like, there are situations where some types of amnesia, at least in systems, can be intentionally broken down.
Yeah.
And where that's not, like, always 100% a bad thing and a bad idea to do. So, like, there could be an argument for Logan being right in this case, and Virgil and Patton just being scared of it anyway and fighting it. At which point it gets complicated because it's not necessarily like more their secret than Logan's, which makes it a complicated consent issue.
I feel like no matter what, even if there are situations where it would be better to talk about it than not, Logan is not informed enough or educated enough to make that decision. He's not a trained therapist. Even if someone is a trained therapist fictive, unless they actually have that training, the fictive character might be wrong, or factive, or whoever. And trying to force that is still asserting your truth above their feelings and not right ever. Even if you are inherently right about the situation, the way you went about it is wrong and it will end up causing more damage than good, because you started off fucked. And
Yeah.
that's not the way
So
to do that shit. That's not a good way to do it.
it's breaking trust with Virgil and Patton for sure. It's going against their consent.
Yeah, because even if
But
you heal that afterwards, you still broke their
Yeah.
consent. You still forced them. They're going to inherently know that you are willing, capable, and will do that in the future if you feel the need to, which makes you inherently untrustworthy, which makes future things break down. So yeah, you got through this moment, but you forever ruined the future because you showed them that you can't be trusted or listen, or that they won't listen to you, which
the
doesn't
biggest
help.
reason, the biggest reason I was bringing up that other perspective is because I was thinking about how much Michael didn't want me to learn about the system at the point where I was learning about the system, and how that feels different to me than just like flippantly ignoring amnesia and giving someone a bunch of information they didn't have before.
I agree, but there's a key difference, or there's a part that I don't agree on. Michael didn't get to have say over who got to know about the system, because the system involved more than Michael. Michael said no, which means that he doesn't have to tell them, or you don't have to tell them of Michael's existence. But Michael doesn't get to say no to the system as a whole, because that still involves the consent of others. So
Okay.
Logan can talk about the Persecutor if he wants, but he can't talk about it for Patton or Virgil. That would be wrong.
That I
And
agree
doing
with.
it with the motive of talking about it for himself to talk about it for Patton is still sneaky and wrong. That's still breaking consent because it's going at it with the wrong intention, and you're still trying to push that end goal, and you're just manipulating words to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So it still wasn't Michael's say whether or not people got to know about it. Just about him.
I mean, it was fully his job, but
Yeah, that doesn't matter though. Job or not, people inherently can't have that right, even if they were created for that right.
Yeah, I just thought it was worth pointing out that some of these conversations can get complicated. And some of the who has the right to what information and to share what information with what people, and that can get complicated and gray pretty fast.
I feel like yes and no on that. There are areas which are complicated, and then there are areas which are very, very set, and people try to overlap the two. Usually because they want to dip into the gray, or they want to dip into the very solidly no area and try to call it gray for their own reasons.
True.
Listen to us this time. We're going to talk about something else now, okay? Patton, What are we talking about? 2005's Just Like Heaven, starring Mark Ruffalo and Reese Witherspoon? Sure. Oh, great flick. I'm really out of it. The very same Just Like Heaven that won the Teen Choice Award for Best Chick Flick? You Ruffle know it. Were there any other Just Like Heaven films released in 2005 starring Mark Ruffalo and Reese Witherspoon? If they got married, then he'd be Mark with his spoon. Am I delirious, or is this the funniest video I've ever made? That's ridiculous, Roman. Have you ever heard of What's Mine is Yours? They'd be Mr. and Mrs. with their spoon. Patton, that was my joke! You hijacked my joke! You hijacked! You know what I never got about that movie? Why it won Best Chick Flick? I love Just Like Heaven, and I'm not a... Of course you're not a chick. You're a metaphysical human being. A chick is a newly had spirit. Have you ever imagined killing your brother? Now, how is she a ghost if she's not dead? Perhaps she was accidentally and unknowingly astral projecting? Oh, or maybe it was an out-of-body experience. I thought astral projecting was an out-of-body experience. I don't know. I'm just glad the movie had a happy ending. That is what makes good cinema. So there wasn't really a ghost. Talk about ghost baiting. Of course she wasn't a ghost. Ghosts are evil, except for Moana's grandmother. Well, if there's one thing I know, Reese Witherspoon isn't evil. I resent that. Ghosts aren't evil. They just scare people because you never know when they're gonna show up. Okay, I take back what I said about ghosts. Ah! You...
Great example of why just totally ignoring the existence of a persecutor doesn't solve anything.
Mm-hmm.
There's more people here now, but I don't know if I can successfully add to the co-conscious thing. I guess we'll find out. Who else is here? It's a busy front area. Somebody else was here too. Who is that? Oh. Jeez. We're fairly blurry, sorry. I'm still gonna say it's mostly aura in the front enough to leave my picture and stuff up. Because I think most of the rest are trying not to switch. Charlie, can you just chill a little, please? You're honestly probably trying to task, and I appreciate it, but my lap cannot hold you right now. I have a rock to play with to ground. Okay, I'll see how long I can handle her in my lap. She's like half in my lap, half out of my lap.
Killed him! Ah, it's the Duke. Boo. The Duke? Okay. Care to explain further? Who is he? What is he doing here? Oh, I just love showing up where I'm not invited. Can someone tell me who he is? It's kind of hard to explain. What? No, it's not. You just lack imagination. Let's start from the beginning.
Adam and Eve bought knowledge for the small price of a little sin. They also lost eternal life, but what's fruit without the pits?
Apples don't have pits.
I am the Duke, and it's high time that I dropped in. And since you haven't puked yet, we'll know they're wrong when they call you sick. It's unicorn horns and dragon tails, Roman's dull creativity. If you want the spectrum A to Z, then you'll need a little help from me. From unicorn porn to rats impaled, I give these thoughts generously. If you really want to challenge your viewership, then you need to stop limiting me. What in the have I been drinking? It's fine. It isn't you, these thoughts you're thinking. All right, you've got to stop this guy from singing. I love how hard you try, it's so cute. Let's resume. Sure, people don't like me much, Thomas. But that's only just cause I'm honest. Good and bad is all made up nonsense. Bro, I'm gonna whip your butt. Do you promise? Thomas, speaking of honesty, recently a snake offered me a morsel from the tree of knowledge. He said you're wanting to be more honest and be direct dealing with your issues. No longer will you deceive yourself about the ugliness within you. Neat! You wanna face facts? I've got one. Your late night thoughts get pretty sick, dude. If you shared those musings with your friends, I doubt they would forgive you. Even though everybody sins, everybody dies. Why deny yourself knowledge? Say knowledge of yourself. You don't need to feel ashamed with your dear old Duke. You need not feign decency. You see this house on fire? I see it too, 'cause you got a fiend in me. So clap your feet and stomp your hands and dance off your booty cheeks. You can then bet your bottom I'll still be around when all your loved ones leave. Imagine with me, licking the blowhole of a dolphin, your best bud trapped inside a coffin, your grandma choking on a lozenge, your pet dog stuffed into a sausage. These sorts of things are only thought in the mind of a man whose soul is truly rotten. So let all your hopes of heaven be forgotten, 'cause your head's not in the gutter, pal, it's in hell. 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 The kind of mind you'd only find in film.
That...
I'm trying to figure out who's fronting now. I know Snake was briefly. I think it might be Aura again now, though. Mostly. Ish. So from personal experience, it is very possible for alters to intentionally or unintentionally trigger intrusive thoughts. We have some persecutors who do that fairly often. Intrusive thoughts can also obviously be a symptom of other things outside of DID, and I don't think they're like directly a symptom of DID, but it can be like tied in that way. But intrusive thoughts are not a moral failing in any way. They're not a sign that you're a bad person, because like the point of intrusive thoughts is to find things that would horrify you and make you think about them. So the fact that it's horrifying you is proof that you like don't want to do it. So it's totally different than like fantasizing about stuff like that. And I think they get into that later in the video, but it's just worth bringing out now. This episode is a little hard for us to watch, because it tends to trigger some intrusive thoughts. But they handle it really well in the episode, and I think in a lot of ways it would be a disservice to the topic to water it down too much, sugarcoat it too much. So, and especially since they did the warning at the beginning, I think it's a good way to do it. But yeah, the specific line that Patton had in the song of, like, I think it's not you, these thoughts you're thinking. But the thoughts aren't you, they're just, like, happening to you, is the way that we've come to think about intrusive thoughts after research and therapy and stuff. They're not, like, representative of who you are or the type of person you are or anything like that. They're just happening to you. But it's hard to think about it that way if you don't know what's happening. And even once you do know, sometimes it can still be hard, and it can still take practice to, like, point out the fact that it's intrusive and therefore not representative of who you are. you know?
Was horrible and horribly unhelpful. Look, Mr. Duke, I'm really stupid right now. Just tell me who you are. Simply. Why, I'm your creativity. No, that's Roman. Yeah. Also me, though. What? Roman is sort of like Netflix Kids and Family. He's the option that you select if you want to, block out all the juicy stuff. Don't say juicy in that context. Juicy butthole? Less okay. Yeah, your beehole needs to stay zipped up in your pants where it belongs. Why
Don't zip your butt in your pants.
Your own creativity top?
What?
Don't zip your butt in your pants, it hurts.
Yeah, that's fair.
Zipping any part of your body into pants hurts.
I think he meant with the zipper fully outside of the butt.
I know what they
But-
meant.
Yeah.
It was a joke.
No, I know.
Then why'd you try to explain it?
Because I'm bad about jokes. I don't tell or receive jokes well. Anyway.
Thomas, I'm sorry that I don't see the creative merit in juicy butthole. Oh, come on, Thomas. There are different kinds of creativity. Just take Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, acid brain sex zombies, that's right. Let me stop you right there. Jeffrey Dahmer was not creative. He was destructive. And I'll thank you to never bring him up again.
Destruction can be creative.
You should...
What?
Destruction can be creation.
Yeah.
That's literally what carving is. You take something that is already whole and good, like a rock, good rock formation, gem cutting, any of that shit, and you destroy part of it to make it more beautiful. Destruction is a form of creation. I don't like it when people try to say it's not, or try to say that just because someone has a destructive impulse that it's bad. Destruction is not
Yeah.
inherently bad, it's what you do with it that makes it bad or good.
I will clarify, Jeffrey Dahmer would be in the clearly bad category of destructive.
I mean, no
nature,
shit.
though. It's just worth pointing out that, like, when that's the context of the conversation, it's worth pointing out that we're not specifically saying that that's potentially okay, because it's not. Oh, I'm gonna have thoughts in a second about the stuff that's about to happen. That's like halfway through happening right now. But I'm not gonna say it until the episode actually does the thing.
That would be good.
Do no such thing. You cannot force the Duke to retire a topic of conversation. Yeah, repression can be very bad indeed. I mean, just take Jeffrey Dahmer. He used to have these pretty funny thoughts about torturing animals. But you know, he hated them. He thought they were horrible, and he tried to force them out. Lot of good that did him. It didn't do him any good. Yeah, right. In fact, that kind of repression doesn't do anybody any good because
Well, I'll let
it
him
doesn't
finish.
work. In the 1980s, Virginia psychologist Daniel Wegner performed the white bear experiments, which demonstrated that the more one tries to force out a thought, the more intrusive and or repetitive said thought becomes. Jeffrey Dahmer! Stop! I will begrudgingly forego the scientific method for a quicker, simpler replication of the experiment. Patton, we will need you to talk about anything you want for the next minute. All right, but hold on to your ears because I'm about to talk them off. Hold on to my ears. Done and done. No! Oh, great, great. Ew. You put those back on right now, mister. I can't hear you. I need you to focus. Oh, right. Okay. So do I just start talking whenever? I will cue you. But before you begin, don't think about, a goldfish in a condom. Okay. That works. Go. Once upon a time, there was a golden girl. Good save. Who lived in a, condominium. Okay, Logan, has it been a minute yet? Not even close. But you did exactly what I needed you to do. Patton did a real good job. You know, you took some creative liberties, but I give you my blessing. In Wegner's experiments, subjects were asked to speak about whatever they wanted, with only one caveat. They were not allowed to think about a white bear. Despite that rule, according to Wegner, subjects mentioned the bear about once per minute. Oh, okay. So I can't stop him. Awesome news. It is, isn't it? But either way, you are not creativity. Yeah, that is the brave, handsome, unbeatable Roman.
Oh, Mommy, I don't want the mashed potatoes.
Yeah, that was the thing I was about to react to, is I'm really, really glad that when they chose to address this topic that they specifically pointed that out, because it's so important. And the like Patton style response to it, basically the moral repression of, if you're thinking about it at all in any context, you're a bad person, so stop thinking about it, really, really doesn't work. And it's really unhelpful, and especially if you internalize that, it can spiral really fast, because you just end up believing more and more that you're a bad person because you can't stop no matter how hard you try, because the way you're trying to stop is like cyclical. It's just a cycle. So that can be extremely frustrating. And I think it's really important that they addressed that.
Creativity is about butterflies and magic. That's not you. You're stinky. Scary. Me? Scary? No. That sounds like a you problem. Or a him problem. Thomas, like it or not, the Duke does encompass a portion of your imagination. Imaginative sure is a kind word for him. I agree. How about demented? Why are you defending him? I'm not. I'm just trying to be intellectually honest with Thomas. Sounds like bullshit. This dork's deceit in disguise. No! What? Again? Deceit? Show yourself! No, it's actually me. I knew that. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm a little silly. Then why are you lying? Lying? You just said the Duke is Thomas's imagination. Yeah, unlike a certain potty mouth in this room, imagination is good. Did you guys know that dork means whale penis? I call Logan a whale penis, is what I'm saying. Thomas, you have to understand that life is not so black and white, as they say. But the Duke and the Prince literally wear the black and the white. Yes, but they're your sides. That's how you see them. That's not the only way he sees me. God, please, leave Joan out of this.
Oh, what's that?
That is something Joan would do. Why would I even have two creativities anyway? Why isn't Roman all-encompassing? Because of your view of creativity and imagination as a purely good force. At a young age, you filed away products of your imagination as either welcome or forbidden. This led to the development of two separate sides of your creativity. Wait, so my creativity split in two. Into what? Into a butthole? Into two parts during your development, yes.
Which, this is one of my favorite things, because it's one of the points in the series where they actually use the term splitting to talk about one side becoming two sides. And it does sound to me like a way that could happen, especially with a strictly moral and or religious upbringing, because then thoughts like that can be extremely distressing anyway, but especially if you're attaching like your moral character to every thought that you have, it can be extremely distressing to have those types of thoughts. So it would make sense to me that they could split over it. There's also a concept that I don't hear talked about a ton about DID and a specific type of splitting, kind of, but the idea of alters being twins in the sense that they split at the same time and are in some way opposites, like opposite ways of dealing with the same trauma or stressor or whatever caused the split. And this would feel like it falls very well into that category. Which is an interesting thing of... It's very possible to see the Duke as a type of persecutor protector in the sense that he's fighting against the, like, strict, unhealthy moral code that Thomas grew up with, and, like, trying to communicate in an unhelpful, aggressive, non-consensual way, but trying to communicate that it's okay to think about bad things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it can be a kind of twisted way of fighting back against that. Oh gosh, she's like sniffing right at the camera. A way of fighting back against that. You know? In case after editing this is too long for one video, this is the end screen for part 1, so part 2 will be coming very soon. It's already filmed and just needs to be edited, and will more than likely be the next video we upload. And we will link some other stuff, like the rest of this reaction series and the original video on the screen. So if you're too impatient and you want to see the rest of the video and then watch our reaction when it comes out later, feel free. The Sanderside series is really good and we really like it. And make sure to like and subscribe and ring the bell, and check out the description for links to things like our Patreon and Discord and Etsy and Wishlist. And you guys help us out a lot with all of the ways that you interact with our content and stuff. If you have thoughts or questions or whatever, feel free to put them in comments and or on Discord. We look at both of those places very often, so yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye.